everybody, and welcome to Poland Daily Travel. I'm Will Richardson, and with me in the studio for this exciting episode is Nicholas, no relation, Richardson, sartorially resplendent. As usual, Nicholas.
Will, good to see you.
He leans back in the chair authoritatively.
After all these months in America.
Yeah, 2 months in America.
Amazing.
Almost, 6 weeks.
Gone very quickly, gone very quickly.
Yeah.
Good to see you back safe and sound.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There's a lot going on in the United States.
Yes, I see it on the news and reading about it in the magazines and the newspapers.
A lot of it is not good.
A lot of it is surprisingly bad, actually, and I'm not quite sure how the country's allowed itself to get into this state.
Yes, it's...
And also worrying there's a presidential election, as you know, coming up. And
I heard about that.
Yes, and the politicians seem incapable of grasping the enormity of the danger to America of this current conflict.
Yeah, it's weird. I can tell you. But should I tell you a little bit about my trip and going? Because a lot of people have asked me, and how do you go to the United States now? Is it okay to go, et cetera, et cetera? Is it okay to come back to Europe? And the answer is,
There we are. You're living proof.
No, I mean, I made it, but it's not easy for everyone. So let me tell you about the flight over, shall I?
Yeah, please do.
Well, let's talk about the flight over, and in the next program we'll talk about coming back, and we'll talk about the flight over and a little bit about what's going on. At any rate, to keep it short, I took about the first plane out of Warsaw that I could get. It was through Frankfurt. Lufthansa being the first, I think Air France, maybe KLM as well, but one of the first, but certainly flying from Warsaw. Lufthansa was pretty easy. The plane was about, going there was pretty full to Frankfurt, but leaving Frankfurt for Washington Dulles Airport, which is in Virginia, just outside of the city limits, beyond the Beltway, which is the motorway that goes around the interstate.
We would say ring road.
The ring road. Well, it's not really. Would you call the M25 a ring road?
Well, it's a very big ring road.
Yeah. The Beltway is the M25.
Oh, the M25 in Washington, D.C.
Yeah. It's partly I-95. Yeah. Which goes from right up the top of New England all the way to Miami.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Beltway is part of that. Yeah. At any rate, so the plane flying over was about 30% full, so it's not very full.
Did you have a row of seats to yourself?
I had a row of seats to myself, yeah.
Lovely.
So I could, but it's hard for me to stretch out because I'm kind of tall. I'm not the tallest person, but I'm kind of tall, 6'3". I don't know. Played a little basketball, you know. I mean, is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you have to wear a mask throughout?
You have to wear a mask the whole time that you're on the plane, except when you're eating or drinking. So I made sure that I was eating or drinking a lot.
Most of the time, yes.
Yeah, I had some, as you would say, biscuits, you know, that I nibbled on. And I kept ordering water and tomato juice, or tomato juice.
Tomato juice. Depending
on how you say tomato, I say tomato.
Yes.
And that's not the only difference between us, just so the folks know. Yeah. And but all in all, it went without any trouble. I got there. The only thing they make you do is fill out a form when you're arriving to the States that says, I haven't had COVID and I don't have any symptoms. So you're really, it's an honor thing.
I'm always thinking, well, my trips to the States, of which I have made 3, and they've always also been via Germany on Lufthansa. But I'm always surprised that questionnaire you fill in, were you involved in any war crimes in the Second World War? You know?
No, I never had that filled.
Yeah, well, you probably as an American citizen, you wouldn't have to fill it in. But the rest of us do. I is half tempted to tick the box yes, to see what the reaction would be to me saying I was involved in a crime.
Before you were born?
Before I was born.
Well before you were born.
But given the state of the American criminal justice system, I suppose that would not be no defence.
Well,
not having been born, you could still be sentenced to something.
There are procedures. You don't want to get into...
Of course.
...into the mix.
Of course.
Yeah, there's enough people out there who might try to get you into the mix, especially now.
Yeah.
Just the accusations flying
dreadful.
Left, right, and
center.
center.
But I think that you make a good point. It is this sort of condemnation by accusation, where it's sort of very medieval, like in Venice, with those little lion's face letterboxes.
We're going to get to that.
Yes, of course. Sorry.
We got only limited time here.
Yes.
We'll get to that later. But and maybe in another show, in the talk show.
Of course.
But I wanted to tell you about my arriving because we're running out of time on this episode. So at any rate, you arrive, you come. There was no one in the airport, in Dulles International Airport, which is usually very crowded. There's no one there, except our plane. So you go immediately to the customs line, and it's, you know, this usual, you know, whatever that's called. The line goes up and down and up and down and up and down, turnstile sort of line. And there's a bunch of agents, immigration agents, just sitting there waiting, which is hardly ever the case. Usually you have to wait some time before you can get in. At any rate, then you come in and there's a desk there and some kind of health official, I don't know if it's a doctor, an intern or whatever, takes your temperature, okay? Your temperature is fine. And then you have to sign a paper.
What happens if your temperature is not fine?
You wouldn't be allowed in.
All right.
Then you'd have to go into, I guess they would take you into some kind of quarantine, or they would give you further tests. They would give you a COVID test for sure, immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be allowed to go in. But I didn't see anyone detained.
No. That's good.
I wasn't watching everyone, but it seemed like there was a huge crowd, not a huge, but because it's half a plane, but waiting for the luggage, the baggage to come out. So that was basically it. So the procedure is pretty much, you know, open-ended. If you're an American citizen, you have no problem getting in. If you are working, you have work papers or student papers, you can get in. So that's my trip to the States. Okay, thanks for watching. In the next episode, I'll tell you about a little bit about being in the United States during the summer. And in the episode after that, I'll talk about the procedure for coming back, because coming back from the United States to Europe, and specifically to Warsaw, because that was possibly fraught.
Ah, fraught, good word.
Yeah, with obstacles.
Ah, well,
okay.
Super.
So that's it from me, Will Richardson, and Nicholas, no relation, Richardson. And we'll be back. Thanks for watching.